Hi everyone, welcome to the London Football Show. Yeah, obviously we've had a name change of the show. We've got a special guest, Emmanuel. You might remember him. He's been on once before, about a year and a half ago now. So we thought we'll bring him back. How are you doing, Emmanuel?
I'm good, thank you, guys.
All right. I think coincidentally, I think the last time he was on was after Liverpool Man City 2-2 at Anfield last season, and he's back
It's
after a
true.
Liverpool game now. Emphatic 4-1 win. Your thoughts on that, and going forward for the rest of the season, the title race and the Champions League. I mean, treble's still on, isn't it? Technically.
That's true. I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah, I was not expecting the score to be like this. Before watching the game, I was actually thinking it was gonna be tough. But when we face Liverpool every time, I'm scared. I'm like, shit, it's Liverpool, it's not other teams. But the game that I watched last time was so terrible. I've never seen Liverpool play like that before, man. I'm being honest with you guys. I've never seen Liverpool play like that. And I'm not saying that we're actually a good team, because we actually did perform good, but Liverpool were actually trash. I don't know what's going on, but right now they're not actually great. That's from the Liverpool that I know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and what do you think about sort of the title race? You still confident of catching Arsenal?
Nah, I think it's like 8. Is it 8 point gap?
8 points, but you still have a game in hand.
Nah, I want to be disappointed if Arsenal win it, because I think we've won it like 3 or 4 times already. So I think that would be good if we leave Arteta win it. It would be a good thing, like, to congratulate Pep for coaching Arteta. It's like he gave us some challenge, because if it wasn't for Arteta, I think we would have won it again. Because who's third? Is it just Newcastle?
Newcastle.
But yeah, I think it would be good for Arsenal to win it. For the history of the club as well, yeah.
You're
So
more
I'm
on the
not
Champions League this
disappointed.
season, yeah?
Yeah, that's the only thing we want, man. That's the only thing I think
Champions League.
we need. Because we took Pep in 2016 for that, and we're in 2023, and we still haven't won it. That's bad.
Would part of you be disappointed if Pep left hypothetically without winning the Champions League? Would you feel like
yeah? I think that would be a failure, man. But that was the main objective. That's the main reason why we bought him. So if he leaves without the trophy, I think that would be a big failure.
Resentment, James, your thoughts on Liverpool? I mean, I know we had our mid-season review, James. You're still back in Liverpool to finish 4th?
Yeah, and you could have said that, invited me to the last podcast, and you still would have been back.
See, he froze, man.
It's only the recent results that hasn't gone for Liverpool.
Wait, sorry, you froze. I don't know. You're still backing them to finish 4th. You sort of froze as you started talking. Well, that shows Liverpool ain't getting.
All right, I'll take over whilst he comes back.
Go on, Zampa, your thoughts on Liverpool?
Liverpool, they're a very inconsistent team. I know I can't really talk about them after the 7-0, but to talk about the 7-0, you see they put a great performance against us. Next game, 1-0 Bournemouth loss. It doesn't make sense, you know. There's no consistency. It's like the players, they just want to show fight for certain games, like the United game. Why is that? You know, is it a case that you've given up on the league and you're just focusing on individual performances? They've got no more Champions League, out of the FA Cup, out of the League Cup. They've got nothing to play for except top 4. But even then, it doesn't look like they want top 4. It's almost like they want to sit back and experience another 2020-21 season, but this time just completely be out of Europe. I think initially, as Datsun did say, I did think Liverpool did stand a good chance of making top 4. But because of recent results, plus the fact that they still have to play Arsenal, I don't know, it's going to be a tough one for me personally if they're going to make top 4. If I was to give you an updated top 4 right now, I'd say Arsenal first, Man City second, United third, and Newcastle 4th. It's changed. I think initially I had my doubts around Newcastle, but things have gone their way. You know, they beat us well deservedly. They got that last minute winner against Bournemouth, I think, or Forest.
Forest away, Isak, man.
Yeah, 5-1 away to West Ham. Yes, it was poor performances from players, you know, giving away 2 silly goals, but it seems that they've kind of got a nail on top 4, and teams like Brighton are dropping points, were dropping points for 3 weeks the same week, but Newcastle were picking up points. Brentford just lost to us. So I think their top four hopes are probably dead by now. Liverpool don't really see it. Chelsea are just way out of it. Fulham not really performing. Mitrovic now got an 8-game ban. So I think favourites wise for fourth or even third, Newcastle.
And James, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me at all or not?
Yeah, we can hear you. So go on, your thoughts on sort of the top four race, if your perspective on the top four race has changed at all in the last few weeks.
Well, Liverpool have let me down a bit, so I still think it depends really. But Arsenal, Man City, Man United, I would have thought definitely top four. After seeing Newcastle last night, you can't not back them, but there might still be a surprise. There might still be a surprise of an unusual team getting into that top four but I guess at the moment you can't, you got to credit Arsenal, City, Newcastle and Man United as it stands at the moment, really. Others have just not gone on a run that you would have thought they would have done,
Yeah, and sticking with you, James, your thoughts on sort of West Ham, Moyes' position. You still think he has credit in the bank, like you personally, and just the thoughts of the fans in general?
Yeah, personally, if I don't mind David Moyes, but he is literally hanging on when you compare it to other teams down the bottom who have sacked their managers and replaced them. Even the Notts Forest guy was under a bit of pressure yesterday. It's just unfortunate that West Ham and the board are still backing him, I suppose, because it may have made a difference. But he's got the Fulham game on Saturday, and then we've got the Europa Conference still. Good chance to get to a semi-final again. And the players like him. The players do like David Moyes. That's the problem. They do like him. They like his style. They like the way he manages and coaches. But it is disappointing yesterday. But then you don't necessarily blame David Moyes. 4 mistakes for 4 goals. You can't do that at that level. You look back on the goals for Newcastle. They were poor defending and poor mistakes by Fabianski and Agard for a couple of the goals. It was just poor.
Emmanuel or something, anything to add on West Ham? Would this West Ham team be one of the greatest squads on paper to go down, in recent years? I know Leeds have had when Leeds went down, all those years ago. I know they said not back in 2004 before they came up. They had Viduka and people like that in that team. But I don't know, this West Ham team on paper, I think they've got so many quality players to be going down. Hypothetically, I don't think West Ham will go down. Just hypothetical discussion.
I think the bottom half is too tight. I think from 12th to 20th, there's a 7-point gap. So I don't think West Ham will go down. West Ham also have a game in hand, and they'll most likely get another game in hand if they progress. Do I think it'll be one of the greatest teams? It's hard.
Well, on paper, in terms of teams that have got relegated?
Even on paper, I don't think so. But, when you do compare the actual teams that did get relegated, I can only put West Ham in that conversation if they make it to the final of the Conference League. We've seen teams like Wigan win an FA Cup and still get relegated. So for me, I can't really put that team in that conversation. I think if Moyes does get sacked, I think it will be very harsh. I think it'll be another Tuchel situation. Moyes has done top 8 back-to-backs in the previous seasons. Took them to a Europa League semi-final. Could be potentially. Me personally, I think West Ham are top 3 for Conference League. I generally can't name any other teams, let alone if I even know any other teams in that league that can win it.
West Ham, Fiorentina, Villarreal. I think it'll be one of them 3.
Exactly. You can't really. I'm pretty sure I can't even name another one that is still in that league that is probably competing in the top 5 European leagues. So I think they still stand a good chance. I think they should give him until the end of the season at least. At least let him have his European run. Because I don't think West Ham, unless they're not going to make European qualification this year unless they win Conference League. I think this is going to be their best chance at winning a trophy and a European trophy for a while. So I think there's something that the fans should be able to enjoy if they can't win it for another 10, 20 years.
Manuel, your thoughts on West Ham?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Rodolfo said. I think they might not be relegated, but right now is the only time they can actually win a trophy. And I think the Conference League is not one of the most important in the season, but for the team like West Ham, I think winning it will be very, very good for the club history. So I think they still have a chance to win it. And I believe they can, even if right now they're not in the right position in the Premier League table, they could do something better with the Conference League.
Okay. Back to you, Razanthan. United bounced back from the Newcastle game, tight 1-0 win, home win over Brentford yesterday. So your thoughts on sort of United? Obviously, Casemiro will be returning soon. Have you guys really missed him in this period of his suspension? Obviously, the midfield especially has sort of been weakened in his absence.
Definitely. I mean, McTominay has been one of our greatest signings, if not one of the greatest signings in the league this season. He's been so pivotal for us. You know, it was crucial in all our big games. It's clear it's night and day when he doesn't play. Do I think we missed him? I think we can manage, but there were games where we could have had his influence, his impact on the team. Yesterday's result wasn't the greatest result. There were 3 points. We were lucky to get it, I think. I mean, 3 shots on target, for me, that's just not good enough. We need to, in the summer, invest in a real number 9. Like, not necessarily to be proven, but someone like Kane. I'll happily take Kane, even if it's for a season. You know, do an RVP, come in for one season, win a league title, or just put your name in the history books. Or someone like Osimhen, if he wants to be going for some bigger glory. You know, he might be impressed by what we could potentially achieve. We've already won the Carabao Cup this season. We're still en route for the FA Cup, still en route for the Europa League. Don't see why we can't attract big names if we do make Champions League qualification, plus winning 3 trophies if one of them is also European. Yeah, performance against Newcastle was poor. We again, 1 shot on target that game as well. Poor, it's shocking. We should never be having that many shots, that low amount of shots on goal. No matter how good Newcastle were, we should be able to penetrate their defense. But Newcastle, you have to give them props. They came prepared. You know, they were clearly there for one thing. They wanted top 4. That was a 6-point game, like you said, Sion, earlier to me. That was the decider as to whether Newcastle were really in that conversation. And I think if they can get a win over Brentford this weekend, I think it will just cement it slightly more. But again, as a United fan, I want to secure top 4, at least top 3, before we go into the semi-final of Brighton, so that we don't have to be juggling games around the clock.
Okay, and your thoughts, like for the rest of the season, how many trophies do you think you'll finish with? Win both the remaining ones?
Realistically, 1. Same with 2020-2021. We should have beaten Villarreal on paper. We should have won that trophy. We had no reason to be in that competition. We should have won it. There was no excuse then. Same with this season. There's no excuse. We're the best team on paper. I can confidently say that on my chest. You know, yeah, I have my doubts about who we can beat, like the likes of Juventus. But honestly, if we get past them, I don't see no reason why we can't beat whether it's Bayern, Leverkusen, or Roma on the other side of the bracket. I think Sevilla, they're not the great Sevilla they were once upon a time. They're not doing too great in the league. I think they might be even bottom half, I think. And for me, this is going to be this game means a lot for me personally, because in the recent years, Sevilla's always one up on us. 1920, they beat us in the semi-finals. 17-18, we got knocked out in the round of 16. So I'm going to be shameless. I don't care how bad this team is. If we do win, I'm going to feel good about it. If we do go on to win the trophy, of course. Semi-final against Brighton, it is a tough one. I do worry about that one. But thankfully, Casemiro should be back. And if everyone is in form, there's no reason why we can't win that game. I'm just hoping that our Wembley experience, having won the Carabao Cup this season, you know, the players having that winning mentality will hopefully take them to the final. Will we beat City? If you asked me a few months ago when City had a bit of that on and off season, I would have said we stood a good chance. Now they're kind of back, they're fully fledged. I am a bit worried. But again, the fact that the FA Cup takes place after the Europa League final, albeit if we do make it, I think that'll be a great push. If we win it, we'll be coming back with that winner's mentality, wanting to, you know, secure that 3rd trophy. I think it'll be a good boost. So it's all to play for, to be honest.
James, Manuel, anything else to add on United?
I just think Man United have done well. I think, like I said it a few podcasts ago about, like, you know, when you look at who had been manager of the season at the end of it, you know, Man United, if they win one more trophy and finish in the top four, that's 2 trophies in top 4. I don't think many people would have had that at the start. So you've got to credit their manager. I think they're sort of like, I was saying the other day, they've been a bit inconsistent and a bit sort of like dodgy the last couple. Like, they hadn't scored until last night since that League Cup final, which is unusual. But they're still, like, you look at the league table, they're level on points with Newcastle. They're 3 points clear of Tottenham. Both Newcastle and Man United have got a game in hand on Tottenham. So, like I said earlier on, the top 4 could stay as it is: Arsenal, City, Newcastle, United. And if United get there, then you got to say they're back. And like, as Rashampton said, you got to question Harry Kane. You know, it could be worth him going to United for like 1 season or 2 seasons just to end his career and finally win something. You know, but then, like, you know, will they allow a player like Harry Kane, who's into more acting at the moment, as we saw at Goodison Park the other night, play at Old Trafford? You know, they don't really want too many actors, do they? That was disgraceful, in my opinion. Harry Kane's to his face, led him to roll around and all that. My God. But anyway, that's another story. But United, I'm very impressed with Man United. I'm rating him as one of my top 2 managers of the season so far. Just depends on what happens at the end of it. You know, who gets it. And you all know my opinion. Pep will get it if he wins the Champions League.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I give credit to Eric as well for what he has done already for 1 season. He's already won a trophy, so I think we should give him credit for that, for the composure and the team spirit that he actually brought to the team. So I think, yeah, Man United will be on the top 4 and might actually win 1 trophy again, but it's to see it.
Okay, moving on now. Chelsea, we've obviously sacked Potter. I'm sure everyone knows. I mean, if you don't know, then I'm sure you're living under a rock. But we've replaced him with Frank Lampard, obviously back. I know the rival fans probably going to troll. Probably some people even want us to stop.
Can you? You can't stop smiling.
I didn't want Lampard back because guess what?
It's
now
amazing, isn't it? You're so happy.
No, I'm not, because rival fans probably even want us to win games now, so he gets the job permanently. Listen, I hope this is until the end of the season.
He could do a Di Matteo, win the Champions League.
Hypothetically, listen, even in some fairyland world, even if we win the Champions League this season, I do not want him permanently. We know, we've seen him he had a year and a half in charge of us in his first spell. Obviously, the first season
finished in the top 4.
We had no Hazard, we had the transfer ban. But then expectations, when we've seen when the expectations rise and you go in the second season, okay, how can you build upon the first season? We saw he couldn't do it. We were 9th in the league, mid-table around the time he got sacked. So we've seen, like, when push comes to shove and it's sort of time to start competing, he's just not quite at that level. And obviously the Everton spell, I mean, I don't think it was pretty impressive in terms of what he did at Everton. So I mean, Everton.
So can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question, Sion? Then,
yeah,
right. And I agree with you on Lampard's just for the end of the season. That's it. No matter what happens.
Yeah,
right?
That's the only way. I'll take this.
They get a new manager. They get a new manager in the summer, right? But I was led to believe that the new owners, you are not going to follow in the footsteps of Abramovich and what he was doing. It doesn't seem as if anything's changed. I think Chelsea are now a club that you only manage for maybe minimum a season and a half, maximum 3 seasons. So you haven't changed. And I don't see it changing. Because, you know, you could have written off the season ages ago and got rid of Potter ages ago. So I don't understand why you got rid of him. You know, because what he said, he's building a plan. It's going to be a 4 or 5 year plan, you know. So Chelsea are not going to change. Who are you going to get in next? Who do you want next, Seal?
Oh, so yeah, you are right in terms of that's what the evidence suggests. Like, I do think, well, Todd Bowley now, he looks like he's sort of more going down the Roman route. Like, he'll promise a project or process, but if results get fall beyond a certain standard, then yeah, he will sack managers. I mean, I don't think Roman would have even hired Potter, but Todd Bowley, he made the decision to sack Tuchel. So you're right in terms of him saying, yeah, this is going to be a process, but clearly it's probably not. In terms of who I want next. Oh, and by the way, in terms of sacking managers, I think it's only Watford that sack more managers than us, to be honest. But in terms of who I want next, probably Nagelsmann. In terms of if I look at who's available right now, I do think he was harshly sacked by Bayern. I think that was more to do with disagreements with the board and players, because his record, in terms of his winning record and his amount of defeats, it wasn't bad. And he was obviously in the Champions League. They beat PSG. So if you told me to pick
Can
one,
you
it would probably be.
survive?
Yep.
Can you survive? So you get him in, right? Can you survive as a Chelsea manager? Can you survive as a Chelsea manager with just finishing in the top 4 and that's it? No trophies.
In only in your first season, not beyond. No, it probably won't happen. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Chelsea are not going to change, and you're going to have a conveyor belt of managers every 2 years.
Yeah,
but that's because you're just you're a team that goes for glory. Like, if it doesn't work, you've got enough money to fix it.
Yeah, I think it's the Roman days. Yeah, it's the Abramovich era that sort of almost set the precedent for that now, isn't it? So yeah, I agree with you. But in terms of the rest of the season, Lampard, I said, as long as it is interim for the rest of the season, nothing more. Regardless, we could win every game from now till the end of the season. I couldn't care less. Yeah, I need a new manager in the summer. Lampard is just for feel-good factor to try and boost the morale of the team. He's a club legend. We all know what he did for us as a player. But yeah, as a manager, no thank you. Just until the end of the season. And yeah, go again next season. Obviously, we've got the Champions League next week, which returns Real Madrid. Not really expecting much from that. I don't know. We saw Real Madrid. I watched them battle Barcelona. I know Barcelona were missing players through injury, but we still see like Modric, Benzema, how good these guys still are, even as they continue to age. So it's going to be very difficult 2 legs for us starting at the Bernabeu next week. I just hope we're still in the game coming back to Stamford Bridge. But moving into the weekend's games now, Premier League, we'll start off with the big game. None of our clubs involved in it, but the biggest game, Liverpool-Arsenal. Liverpool-Arsenal, on paper, still the biggest game, although we know Liverpool's form this season hasn't been what we're all used to. But at Anfield, we've seen Liverpool, obviously, what they did to Man United. They turn up in the big games, especially at Anfield. Our thoughts on that game and the score predictions. I'll go first. I haven't gone first on anything yet. I'm just gonna go for the scores. 2-1 Liverpool. I need Liverpool to win, man. Come on, Liverpool. I need City to win this league title, and I need Arsenal to be humbled at some point. Yeah, anyone can go next. Score prediction.
For me, it's a Liverpool win. I think Arteta will change his mind of how he wants to set it up. He can afford to set it up to go for the draw, but I think he'll change his mind and be too open. And I think Liverpool at Anfield will win. I was going to go 2-1, but I'll go 3-1 as you went 2-1. So.
All right. Zanford, Emmanuel?
I'll say 2-1 as well to Liverpool. Yeah, I'll give it to them.
I'm going to go 2-2. If Arteta's smart, he'll play up for a draw. I mean, he's not saying he's got nothing to lose, but he's in a very comfortable position. And City have a game on hand, which is against Brighton. Brighton's not exactly an easy team. So anything can happen in that game. If they can say they're 10 points ahead with a game in hand, and you tell them that game in hand is against Brighton, not even a bottom 10 team, they'll be in a good position. You've got to remember, Man City still got to face Bayern in the quarters, still got to face a semi-final. They've got a lot of fixture congestions. Arsenal, they're only playing one game week in, week out, even less now with the run of the season going. So I think Arsenal, that they can more than confidently get a draw. So I'm going to go 2-2. I think there will be goals, definitely goals of glory.
I mean, I say this. I think if Arsenal, this is one of them games where, like, if you go on to win a title, you look at it and say, if we can go to Anfield and win, that'll be the game where I think if Arsenal do win, I think it's over. I just think City deep down, I think they know that obviously the Anfield factor. City have sort of gone to Anfield plenty of times where on paper I expect them to win. They've probably dominated the game, but it's just the Anfield. If Arsenal can go to Anfield and win, I don't know. I think deep down, I think sort of Pep might even start thinking like, oh, this is the place where we hope they could slip up and we could possibly close the gap. So I think if Arsenal do win this game, I think they're looking pretty good for the title. I think it will just be Newcastle away in terms of their away games, or they still obviously have to go to the Etihad as well. But yeah, Arsenal could not put it to bed, but it would be a big statement if they go to Anfield and win. So I hope not. Man United, Everton, early kickoff Saturday. Xanthan.
A tough one. Early kickoffs, we will see how predictions basically mean nothing. XG, nothing. None of this matters. It is going to be a tough game. I think players are going to be tired. I was mentioning to Mr. Datson earlier how we play on a Wednesday night and then suddenly we get a Saturday early kickoff, and especially knowing that we're still in 2 other competitions. It's going to be tough. It's going to be interesting how Ten Hag's going to play that game. Casemiro still has to serve 2 more suspensions, 2 more games until his suspension, I believe. It's going to be interesting to see how he plays it. But I think Old Trafford, it's been a fortress since the first 2 games. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory.
2-1. I'm going to go 3-0. 3-0 Man United. James, Manuel?
I need a Man United win because they're playing Everton. So I'll take a 1-0 scruffy game. I don't care. United to win 2 or 3-0, hopefully.
I was going to go for a draw. I was going to say that Everton doesn't want to go down because right now they're in the 16th place and United want to be top 4. So I think both teams actually want to win it. So I'll go for a draw.
All right. James, London Derby, Fulham, West Ham.
See, Fulham have lost their last 3 Premier League games. They haven't got their striker. He's banned. I've got to go West Ham win. Have to go West Ham win. Despite the mistakes last night, they played all right, to be fair. So I'm going for maybe a 3-1 win to West Ham.
I think West Ham should win it. I think the way Fulham capitulated and lost their heads, I think they still need to recover from that. I don't think they have recovered personally, especially with the news of Mitchell being banned for 8 games. I just don't see where the goals are going to come from. I know Perez is doing well, but I think West Ham, they'll have more fight than Fulham. I think Fulham are quite content where they are. The top 10, even if they don't finish in top 10, they'll be like, okay, fair enough. We only finished below the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool, who were potentially 9th or 10th. So it's all in West Ham's hands, to be honest. I think Fulham can go there and they can say they've got nothing to lose.
Emmanuel?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Rizonfa said. I think West Ham will be more hungry to go get a win compared to Fulham, because they've got nothing to lose and they haven't even got a striker, and I don't even know who's the second striker of Fulham. So I'll be
Vinicius, innit? Ex-Spurs player, Carlos Vinicius, him, innit?
So I didn't even know. So I think West Ham should go and win it, and they should win it.
And well, what's your score prediction, and Razan, for yours as well?
I'll say 2-1, or 1-0.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I agree with pretty much what Razan said. Like how many times in recent years we've seen Fulham like in the Premier League, and in April they're safe. Like usually that's rare, sort of, in the last couple of times they've been in the Premier League. And obviously, yeah, West Ham, the game means everything to them. So yeah, I know Fulham are at home, but obviously no Mitrovic, as everyone else has said. So yeah, I'm gonna go 2-1 West Ham as well. Back to you, Emmanuel. Southampton, Man City.
I'll give it to City, man. I don't even know what happened to Southampton this season. They're lost right now, right?
Yeah. They're bottom. Yeah. Beat us home and away, though. I
don't think City is gonna sleep out Southampton. There's no way. Apart Guardiola changes stuff, but there's no way. On paper, I don't see City losing that game, even if it's away. There's no way. But I feel in football, anything can happen. We can go there. The plan might just not work, and we can lose. But I'll give it to City.
Yeah. As Razan obviously mentioned earlier, I think City starting to move through the gears a bit. Grealish in last few weeks is his best form, without doubt, in a Man City shirt. Liverpool, no one deserved the goal more than him in that game. Is Haaland fit, by the way? I saw something saying he might be a slight injury doubt. Do you know if he's fit for the game or?
No, he's not playing. I don't think so, man.
He's not playing. Alvarez is more than capable. He came in against Liverpool, scored a goal, played well. So I'm saying 4-0 Man City.
True,
4-1.
true. We
So,
actually
yeah.
proved it. We actually proved it. Without him, we can actually play it.
Yeah,
Just
I actually think, you
4-0.
know what? I was discussing it with one of my sort of other friends. I was saying like Alvarez with the link up, because in terms of linking with the midfield, he's probably better than Haaland. So that sort of allowed Man City to sort of play more the old Man City style in terms of
It's so
not having
true.
the like Haaland linking up. Obviously, Haaland's more running in behind. Obviously, a better goal scorer than Alvarez without doubt. But I just felt against Liverpool, it reminded me more of the old City where Aguero, Sterling, Sane, which for me that's still the best Man City team in recent years with them three up front. But yeah, just something to add on Man City that I sort of noticed from the Liverpool game. James was Southampton, Man City.
Yeah, quickly from me, Southampton ain't going to win. City will win. They need to win to keep on top of Arsenal. Southampton will lose 4 or 5-0. Simple.
Southampton.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Dutson. Southampton, they're pretty much relegated. If not, they'll be mathematically relegated in a few games. Man City, every game they're going to treat as a big game, because if they don't and Arsenal capitalize on it, that'll be a big statement in the Prem and in the title race. So I think Man City will get the game done by half time. So 3-0 Man City.
Okay. Anything else to add before we wrap up from anyone?
No.
All right.
Big weekend.
Okay. Well, Emmanuel, thanks for coming on.
No problem,
Pleasure
man.
to have you back. Thanks to everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you all again soon. Take care.